Good morning, Sudarshan Reddy and Guru. Magic agriculture theorists and researchers are requesting all the farmers, all the agriculture scientists, all the agriculture universities, all the agriculture research institutions. Develop a little bit of land in the middle of the normal agriculture field, 10 meters, 50 square meters, or 100 square meters, and develop the land as I am saying. First, make the land to a slanting position, at least 1 feet slant position. Then, excess water will be drained out from the field. Second, plow the land with deep cultivators. Third, silicon development. What is the silicon? What is the use of silicon to the crops? No scientists, no agricultural scientists, no farmers knows about the even 1% about the silicon. Silicon is the most essential crop to the all crops. We know that silicon is not dissolved in the water. But when we heat the silicon, some silicon forms, deforms, so that little bit of silicon dissolves in the water. Calcium silicate or silicon oxalate. When these trees, plants get this silicon, it grows very, very healthily. Moreover, more resistance develop in the crops. No insecticides, no fungicides, no nut borers attack such crops. In good olden days, before tractors period, farmers used to plow the land from the February or January itself. So in 4-5 days, in the 4-5 months up to the Roni Karti, very much silicon develops in that crops. So when silicon develops in the lands, then less disease attacks the crops. Moreover, rich crops and more crops will be yielded. Insecticide will not be needed not as much as today's using. In nowadays, people are cultivating with the tractor. Today they are cultivating the land and starting feeding seedling or starting agriculture from next day or tomorrow. So silicon not developing in the lands in nowadays. We know that when heating the silicon develops to the silicon oxalate or calcium silicate develops in the land, which is useful to the crops. So when we crush the soil or deep soil in the crushers, in stone crushers, we may get abundant or plenty of silicon that will be useful, which is useful to the agricultural land, agricultural plants. If we burn the developed area with agricultural waste and husks, it also develops this silicon in the land. We know that when we burn the land and put the seedlings on the land, seedlings goes very, very fastly and moreover falls down. Of course, excess silicon will be improves very, very fast growth, and fast growth may be damage to the crops. If we take the soil of the 1.5 to 2 feet below this ground, that will be richer in silicon. If we have to lay down that sand on the developing land at up to 4 to 5 inches. Another method is this. In good old days, we put that all the soil when we dig the bore wells, when they dig the step wells. That soil also contains very much rich in silicon. We have to use that, spread that soil and the developing land up to 4-5 inches. You have to follow any one of them. Any one of them give sufficient silicon to the crops. Then no disease attacks such crops. No fungicides, no nut borers, no even sucking mites attack these crops. Third, phosphate. Phosphate is most essential element, but we should not add the phosphate directly into the field. Complex phosphate should be put to the soil only before the crop period, should not be sprayed or given on the crop period, because when we spray or when we give phosphate on the crop period, it damages the zinc. When zinc is damaged, plant loses its resistance and immediately attacks in the crop. So phosphate spraying or phosphate adding must be banned completely. Complex air itself is damaging the agriculture fields and the farmer public's health because it doesn't contain calcium and sulfur, whereas superphosphate powder contains calcium and sulfur powder, which are most needed elements to the crops, which gives great crops and great results to the crops. So I request all the farmers to use superphosphates as much as possible. Never try to use complex fertilizers. I recommend all the government and the agricultural authorities to ban the complex fertilizers. Superphosphate also should not add to the soil directly. We have to put that superphosphate in the organic fertilizer, dry wet, powdery organic method. We have to mix the needed superphosphate in the dry wet organic fertilizer and store in a shadow for 10 to 15 days. Then we should add that material with superphosphate with organic fertilizer to the soil. Even that is to before 10 to 15 days before crop period. Then we have to add all the essential elements: sulfur, potassium, magnesium, zinc, phosphorus, ferrous, needed other elements. Then sort crop throughout the field, including the developed period, developed land, including undeveloped land. Within 1 week, you can see that plants in the developed area grows very fastly and very healthily. No disease attacks such crops. Crops becomes very strong and grows very high too. We have to reduce the density to 1 or 2%. Half percent of density. We have to reduce the half percent of density. Normally all diseases attack the undeveloped land crops. Nut borers, fungicides, sucking mites, etc. Collect all the diseased plants and diseased worms and put them on the developed land farm agricultural land trees, but they did not damage a single percent of the crop, because that is the magic. That is the magic. Magic means really magic to the farmers. And magnesium and zinc silicon gives sufficient or enough resistance to the crops. Cell wall becomes very harder. No fungicides, no nut borer worms attack the crops. No fungicides attack the crops. No disease attack the crops. Zinc protects all the viral and bacterial infections. You can get double or triple crops in the 100 meters. The 100 meters crop will be more than the 400 meters undeveloped land crop. Moreover, the crop will be very richer in the quality, very richer in nutrients. They don't need any poison insecticide. No insects will no disease attack these crops. So if you follow the same method throughout the agriculture field, you can get 3-4 times more crop. Of course, more crop means less price to farmers. Less crop means more price to the farmers. So farmer has to reduce the cultivating area up to 40% or 50%. Then he can give rest of the land, and rest of the land enriches with the silicon and other nutrients. Then next year also the farmer can get sufficient or good crops. Not insecticide. Farmers don't need insecticides, don't need hormones. He gets more richer nutrient crop and more quality and quantity crops. The crops improves people's health. In the process, farmer himself can confirm themselves. All the disease will be cured when we supply the sufficient nutrients. Farmer himself becomes as a scientist. Jai Hind.